The morning Madam Risi found her housemaid kneeling in the living room, she stood frozen at the doorway. Amara was surrounded by footprints that made no sense. They were large, long, and nothing like the feet of any person. That was the day she realized her maid was never who she claimed to be, and everything she thought she knew about her home was about to change forever. Madam Risi lived in Aderonke village, a place where people minded their business but paid attention to anything unusual. Madam Risi was a hard-working woman who sold fabrics in the nearby town. Her days were long and stressful. She left early in the morning and often returned just before night settled. Despite her tough exterior, she had a soft heart. She cared for the people around her and believed in giving anyone a chance if they needed help. But running a house alone was becoming harder for her. She needed someone who could handle the chores and keep things in order while she focused on her business. Life was steady, familiar, and simple, until the day help arrived at her doorstep. A distant cousin brought a young girl named Amara to her. He said the girl needed work, and he believed Risi would treat her well. Amara was quiet, too quiet for her age. She had a way of staring at people as if she was trying to understand them beyond their words. She never smiled, rarely blinked, and always seemed to be thinking about something far away. She didn't eat with others. She preferred to stay alone in the kitchen when it was mealtime. And whenever Risi checked on her at night, Amara was always awake, never moving, just sitting upright as though she didn't need sleep at all. Risi noticed all these things but brushed them aside. She needed help, and the girl worked hard without complaints. But from the first night, strange things began to happen. The first odd sign was the light bulb in the hallway. It flickered only when Amara walked past. Then came the footsteps at midnight. Risi would lie in bed, listening to movement across the house, but whenever she checked, Amara's door was shut, and she always looked as if she had not stepped out at all. Objects began shifting. A stool left in one corner would end up in another. A cup disappeared from the kitchen and later appeared on the veranda. Risi tried to convince herself she was imagining things. But deep down, she knew something wasn't right. One night, while lying in bed, she heard it clearly, breathing, from under her own bed. The next morning, Risi woke up to find water all over the living room floor. Buckets were untouched, no pipe was leaking, and the windows were closed. There was no explanation for how it got there. Another morning, she found Amara standing outside before dawn, facing the forest behind the house. The girl stood completely still, as if she was waiting for something. When Risi greeted her, Amara replied in a language she had never heard before. The tone was calm, but the sound of it chilled Risi to her bones. A neighbor, who lived 2 compounds away, stopped Risi one afternoon and quietly said, "Watch that girl closely." She didn't explain why. She didn't need to. One day, an elderly woman visited Risi to buy fabrics. As she stepped into the house and saw Amara sweeping, her body stiffened. She grabbed Risi's arm and pulled her aside. She said she had seen something like this years ago, a girl who acted normal during the day but was something else at night. She spoke of old stories, the kind passed from generation to generation, about beings that took human form to walk among people. She called them night wanderers, spirits that preferred the form of young girls because people trusted them more. Risi laughed nervously, trying to dismiss it. But after the woman left, a small knot of fear formed in her chest. She didn't want to believe the story, yet too many things were happening for her to ignore it. From that day, she started watching Amara more carefully. One night, Risi woke up suddenly, as if something had tapped her shoulder. She rose quietly and checked Amara's room. The door was wide open, and the bed was empty. Her heart pounded as she stepped outside. She saw a small figure walking toward the forest, barefoot, with her head slightly tilted as if listening to distant voices. Risi followed from a distance. The moonlight cast shadows everywhere, but one shadow made her stop. Amara's shadow didn't match her movements. It lagged behind, then moved ahead, almost as if it had a life of its own. Risi hid behind a tree, shaking. Amara stood a few steps away, speaking softly to something that wasn't visible. The sound wasn't like a conversation, it was as if she was reporting something. Suddenly, Amara stopped talking. She turned her head slightly, as though she sensed Risi's presence. Risi didn't wait. She ran back home without looking back. The next morning, the house was quiet. Too quiet. Risi stepped out of her room and noticed the living room door open. There, in the center of the room, Amara knelt on the floor. Her eyes glowed faintly, as if they reflected a light no one else could see. Around her were muddy footprints, large, wide, and shaped like something that didn't belong to the human world. The footprints circled her, yet none led in or out of the house. Amara raised her head slowly and called Risi's name. The sound was not her usual voice. It was deeper, layered, and filled with something ancient. Risi's legs trembled. She felt like she was standing at the edge of something she wasn't prepared to understand. Amara looked up calmly and told her the truth. She was not human. She had been sent to the house for one purpose, to watch over Risi. She said Risi had been marked long before she thought of hiring anyone. Something had been following her for months, something that moved at night and searched relentlessly. The footprints belonged to that creature. According to Amara, it came every night, looking for a moment when Risi was unprotected. Amara claimed she had kept it back, but it was growing stronger. Risi felt her heart race. She didn't know what to believe. As Risi stood there, trying to understand what she had just heard, Amara slowly faded. Not like someone stepping out of a room, but like mist caught by the morning sun. One moment she was there, speaking calmly, and the next moment the space where she knelt was empty. The footprints remained. The silence remained. And Risi realized she was alone, with no idea when the creature would return. Later that day, Risi locked every door and window, but the house didn't feel safe anymore. That night, while she sat on her bed, she heard a faint sound outside her door. Slow. Heavy. Nothing like Amara's gentle footsteps. She didn't open the door. She didn't move. She just listened, knowing something had finally come for her. In places like Aderonke village, people often say, be careful who you welcome into your home, because not every helper comes as one. And sometimes, the one you should fear is not the one you think.